All right, guys. So today is day 3 of our defensive skills and strategies videos. Day 1, we looked at how to throw the football. So we looked at the grip, we looked at the motion of throwing it, and we also looked at the 3-step drop. All of which are essential to be a good passer in a football game or to be able to throw the football well. Yesterday, we looked at cuts and fakes, and we also looked at some routes. Today, we are going to be talking all about defense. So, again, if you guys remember, the goal of the defense is to stop the offense from scoring and from moving down the field. They can do this in a few ways. They can do it from, just keeping them from getting the first down. They can do it by getting an interception or a fumble, or they can do it by getting a safety, and that's about it, really. So, today what we have is we've got my offense set up. You can't see them all, I don't think, with this view, but there's 3 wide receivers. Those are the ones with the blue caps on them. The green one is the center, who's going to snap the ball, and then behind him with a purple cone is the quarterback. The first thing we're going to talk about today is pressuring the quarterback, rushing the quarterback. So in football, normal, like NFL, college, high school, normally you have an offensive line and a defensive line, and then once that ball is snapped, it's an all-out war in a battle to see if the offensive line can stop the defensive line from pressuring and getting a sack on the quarterback. So in flag football, it's a little bit different. Now, some people play different ways, but how we would play in my PE class is we would do 5 Mississippi. So, as if you were the rusher, if you were the defensive end or defensive lineman, whatever you wanted to call yourself, what you would do is after that ball is snapped, you are going to count to 5 Mississippi, real loud. You have to do it so loud that the entire field can hear it. So there's no question of, well, he didn't get the 5 Mississippi, so we get the ball, we get that down back or whatever. No, you've got to be loud. I'm going to show you an example of what that's going to look like, and also show you the different moves and skills you can have to get to the quarterback. So here's what they're going to look like. So guys, like I said, day 1, I'm not going to be doing this with any other people, because there's a chance that you guys at home don't have other people to practice this with. So these little stands are going to act as the offense for me. So they're not going to move. We got to pretend they're going to move. Use your imagination a little bit. That's the best I can do, really. But so again, just to give you a reminder, these guys with the blue hats, they are the wide receivers. There's 3 of them. This guy with the green hat, he is the center, so he's going to snap the football back to the quarterback. And then obviously right here with our purple hat, this is our quarterback. He's the one who's going to be making the throw. Again, just some details about the offense that we would do if you were in PE. We would, there's only 5 people on each side, so it would be 5 versus 5. The center, after he snaps the ball, he can do one of 2 things. He can either block, and I might show you an example of what that looks like later on, or he can go out for a pass. So that kind of holds the defense accountable, because if he stays there and blocks, then you can send more people to the quarterback, but if he goes out for a pass, you can only send 1. And then obviously the quarterback, he can either throw it or he can run it. Now the quarterback, he can run it at any time. Like I said with the defensive end right now, I have to count loudly to 5 Mississippi. But that quarterback doesn't have to wait for me to get there. He can run whenever he wants. So just so you guys know about that. Now let me show you what it's going to look like trying to get after the quarterback. So again, this is kind of going to be where his position would be after the center snaps the ball. So the quarterback now has the ball, he's done his 3-step drop, and he's waiting to pass the ball. Okay, so he's waiting for his receivers to get open. I know it's going to be hard to imagine these things moving because they're just going to be right there, but I need you guys to really try to use your imagination and just picture wide receivers running down the field and the quarterback waiting there. So I'm going to show you guys what it's going to look like to rush the quarterback, and then we'll go from there. So I'm going to line up anywhere really anywhere I want. I can line up on the outside if I want. I can line up on the other side. I can line up way back here. But the best place really is to line up real close, because the closer you are, obviously, the easier it's going to be to get to the quarterback. So I'm going to line up close to the center, because that's our line of scrimmage. That's that place where the ball is, and then you snap it, and then you can move. So I'm going to line up close to the center, and then I'm going to pretend, he hiked the ball. So set, hike. Now, the quarterback's got the ball. I'm defensive end. I got to count loud. And again, I've got to be loud so the entire field can hear me, so there's no question of if I went too early or anything like that. So, real speed in an actual game, this is what it's going to look like. So the quarterback will say, set, hike. I'm defensive end. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. And then I go after it. So I hope you guys saw what I did while I was counting. While I'm right here, and I can't go after him yet, I've got my hands up just to make it even harder for him to throw a pass. We talked about the 3-step drop. We use it to get more vision of the field. But as a defensive end, or the defense in general, I don't want the quarterback to have more vision. So while I can't run after him, I'm going to be doing this, kind of like in basketball, that'll be one of our units later. But when you got somebody stuck, they can't dribble, they can't move, they got to make a pass, you're doing like this, so they can't make a pass. You're jumping all around. Do the same thing, almost like you're a defender in basketball. So one more time, this is what it's going to look like. Set, hike, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. And then move. I run at him. If I get his flag off before he throws the ball, that's what's called a sack. He might try to scramble off somewhere, and I just got to chase him. So yeah, that is rushing the quarterback. You guys kind of see the different skill I use there. It's really just during that count, jumping up and down to get big so he can't throw over you. And then once you get that count done, you're at 5 Mississippi, you're sprinting after him. Again, like I said, he might run on this way, he might run that way, and try to create a little space and a little time. But as a defensive end, you got to do your best to chase them. All right, guys, so now we are going to look at another position on the defense for football. It's going to be the linebacker position. So while the defensive line, they primarily, usually their sole purpose, normally, is to just rush the quarterback, pressure him so he makes a bad decision, or he can't get, he gets sacked or whatever that may be. The linebacker is kind of in a flex spot. So while he can also run after the quarterback and try to sack him, he also has the ability to drop back into coverage. So he might be covering a wide receiver. I'm kind of going to try to set these up in different ways so you can see the difference of, the range of a linebacker. But first thing I want to show you is their position on the field, and then what they might do after that. All right, guys, so if you see me right here, right now I'm a linebacker. So again, I'm farther away from that line of scrimmage. I'm farther away from the offensive line and then my defensive line as well. I'm in the middle of the field, so I got to make a decision. When I'm playing linebacker, I have got to really view the field. They call the linebacker the quarterback of the defense. So what I have to do is make decisions on what I want to do. So in our flag football, the lineup would normally be 1 defensive end, 1 linebacker, and then 3 defensive backs. So my wide receivers are going to say are covered. So they're good. Pretend there's a quarterback here, there's 1 here, and there's 1 there. My defensive line, he's good because he's going to go after the quarterback. Basically, the person I'm going to be watching the most, not all the time, but most, is going to be this center. Because after that center snaps the ball, he's got the choice of blocking, or he can come out for a pass. So if he's blocking, I think you guys can kind of assume, or hopefully come to the conclusion of what I might do as linebacker. If he's blocking, I'm going to run in and get the quarterback. So let's pretend right now that the ball is snapped, and then the center, he stays and blocks. So if he stays and blocks, so set height, center staying there, he's blocking. So now, since he's blocking, I am going to decide as a linebacker to rush the quarterback. but the same rules apply as a defensive end. One of us has to get to 5 Mississippi first, okay? So if he's blocking, then that only leaves 3 wide receivers and they're covered. So now, set height, center's blocking, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. Me and now the defensive end are going around this center to get to the quarterback and sack him. Now, let's say that I'm a linebacker who wants to play coverage. This is what that will look like. In this scenario, first, we're going to have the center stay there and block again, okay? But I'm just changing what I'm going to do. So now, still all these guys, all the wide receivers are covered. They've all got a defensive back on them. But what I'm going to do is stick back in coverage, kind of in the middle of the field. Because if you remember with our routes, a lot of times, the wide receivers are going to run up and they're going to cut where? On the inside. So when that happens, and if our cornerback or defensive back falls down or loses them in coverage, I'm kind of the backup guy because I'm right here in the middle of the field. So let's say this guy right here, he does the in route. So he comes in and he cuts in. My cornerback is still over there because he lost them. Now I've got to pick up the slack and be like, okay, holy crap, so he's not open. So that's kind of what I can do. And it can happen over here too, the same thing. So that guy way on the end over here, if he does the same thing, he does a slant route, and then my cornerback gets lost, what I've got to do is I got to see that and then jump over so he's not wide open. That's kind of what that would look like. Again, please try to imagine kind of what that would look like with these things moving. I know it's tough, but this is the best we got. So now, let's look at what the linebacker will do if the center goes out for a pass. So, kind of looking at the numbers again. We've got 1, 2, 3 wide receivers, 1, 2, 3 defensive backs. The center, after he snaps the ball, like I said, has a choice. He can stay there and block, or he can go out for a pass. If he goes out for a pass, then that's 4 receivers, but only 3 cornerbacks. So he is wide open in the middle of the field. So what I can do as a linebacker is pick him up. So it's going to be set height, and he's going to come up the field. I got to drop back in coverage and stay with him so he doesn't have a wide open pass. That's kind of what that linebacker position is going to look like in football. Now, let's go and look at the cornerback or defensive back position. All right, guys, so far we have looked at the defensive end and we've looked at the linebacker. Now we're going to look at the defensive back. The defensive back is just a term that encompasses a cornerback or a safety. We're going to play at cornerback right now and kind of show you what that role looks like. So, the cornerback's main responsibility is to cover a wide receiver. There are times where they can go after the quarterback and blitz, again, after that 5 Mississippi is up. But the reason that doesn't happen too often is because when that happens, he's wide open because the linebacker's got to come over and cover him, and there is a little bit of time where he's going to be wide open for a pass. So we're going to pretend at cornerback that I'm just going to cover this wide receiver. So, again, just a reminder, our wide receivers have these blue hats. So what I'm going to line up as cornerback is I'm going to line up straight across from my receiver. You guys see I'm right in front of him. So whichever way he goes, I'm ready for it. I want you guys to notice my hips. It can be kind of hard to see, I know, with this side angle, but my hips are facing the receiver. Our hips are very important in any sport, but in football especially at this position, because whichever way our hips are facing determines which way we can go. So if I'm backpedaling and then my hips end up facing that way and he goes that way, then I've got to flip him and follow him. Depending on what way our hips are facing is going to determine which way we can go. So to kind of give you guys an idea of what it's going to look like. So anyway, I'm going to say set height. I'm going to backpedal, follow him, and I got to guess which way he's going to go and watch his hips as well. Hips, like I said, are very important. Our hips are important, but so are theirs, because which way their hips is facing determines which way they're going to go most of the time. if they're like really flexible and they're able to quickly flip their hips or just basically give you a decoy of where they're going to go, that can be hard. But that's kind of why you also got that guessing game. Remember what I said with the receiving, a lot of times those routes are inside because you kind of want to get towards the middle of the field as often as you can. So we're going to act like he's going to go inside. He's going to do a slant route. So pretend he's moving, but watch me. So set height, I'm going to go back, and then we're going to pretend he cuts. Now I got to stay with him. And we're pretending he's going this way. So now I'm in a good place because I'm still with my receiver. So if that quarterback has nobody else open and he makes, a prayer throw, then he's going to throw it right here, and hopefully I can either cut that receiver off and intercept the ball or knock it down or something. Or maybe not cut him off, but just get my hand in there so that he doesn't catch it. So that's kind of what our cornerback position looks like. It's a hard position to play. It really is a lot of guesswork and just trying to understand which way they're going to go, understanding what way their body is saying they're going to go. But it can be tough to kind of understand that. Now let's try to look at our safety. All right, guys, so the view you're at is behind the defense. So I'm playing defense right now, but you're going to see my back. All right, so that means the offense is that way. We're trying to stop them from coming towards you. So my position on the field for safety is going to be all the way back. So not towards the goal line, but farther back than anybody else. So remember, our defensive end, they're going to be right here at the line of scrimmage. Our linebacker, they're going to be about right here. So they're kind of in the middle. As safety, which is another defensive back, I'm going to be even farther back. What my role is as a safety is to pick up anybody in coverage that gets loose. So what that means is that there's an open wide receiver running down the field, or to try to cut somebody off. So really, kind of like a linebacker, I just have to watch and make a decision on what's going on. So if I see over here that this wide receiver he's covered, I'm probably going to gravitate more towards this side of the field because he's covered. He's not catching the ball. But I see these two over here, and I see one starting to get loose. I'm going to come over here, and then I'm going to try to pick him up in coverage so that he doesn't get an easy catch or easy throw down the field. On the safety, normally I don't really use a safety in flag football. I'll let you guys make that decision because, maybe you don't want a linebacker. Maybe you'd rather have somebody who's always coverage. That's your guys' preference, your team. Usually the safety is the last resort. So he is the last guy you can call on. If there's a free wide receiver running down the field, wide open, me as safety, I'm the last man that can either stop him from catching the ball, or I can make a tackle if he does catch the ball before he scores a touchdown. All right, guys. So that is our flag football skills and strategies. I don't think there's really anything else that I can kind of practice or show you, without having to have equipment or people. But everything that we've learned through this week, Monday, Tuesday, and today, you guys can practice at home. I know it might be a little weird. It might be like, why would I practice that when I don't have a football, when I don't have somebody to throw me the ball? The reason is because even practicing certain aspects of different skills in the sport help you get better at it. At home, I know that we might not have the cones or the stands or even a football, but if you do, get out and practice with it. Even if it's just throwing to a field and then going to get it, or throwing to a wall, get out and practice that motion. If you have someone, whether it's a parent or guardian or an aunt or an uncle or a brother or a sister, whoever it may be, maybe a cousin, whoever in your life, if you have someone who can practice with you, whether it's you running the routes and throwing to them or the other way around, get out and try to practice as much as you can. I think I remember telling you guys the very first day of our PE class, my job as a physical educator is to introduce you to all kinds of different sports and activities so that you find something that you enjoy doing for a lifetime. The best way to do that is to practice the skills, because if you're not skillful in something, you're not going to do it. Why would I go out and play football if I suck at it? Why would I go out and play basketball if I suck at it, right? But when you learn the skills and you practice them more, that helps you become more confident in yourself. And you can be like, you know what, I actually might go out and play football, not for a team or anything, but maybe just go out recreationally. So that's what my goal is. That's what I'm trying to do with these videos, and I'm going to try to do this with every unit as much as I possibly can. But yeah, that's really all I got for you for flag football. If you want to practice these things at home, you can. I'm going to post all of these videos in the probably the class materials folder if I can figure out how. But yeah, that's all I got. That is our flag football unit. We will have just a small test on it. I hope that your notes have been good and that you've been paying attention. It's not going to be on anything that we haven't covered. So everything that we've covered in class on the PowerPoints and then now is what we are going to be tested on. It's not going to be long, it's not going to be hard. And remember also, you can use your notes and these videos on that test. That's why it's so important for you guys to take good notes, that you can understand them so you can use them and succeed with them. So yeah, that's all I got. I will see you guys tomorrow, and yeah, have a good day.